everyone. My name is Michelle Braden with MSBCoach, and I'm so excited to be here today with one of the attendees who joined us this spring for our first virtual MSB Coaching Institute. And we are going to be offering this program again in the fall, starting September 9th. And we would love for you to join us. We wanted to talk a little bit with the different leaders who joined us for this program to learn a little bit more about their experience. So I'm going to ask my guest today to first introduce himself.
All right. Hi, I'm Christopher Birkl. I am the District Learning Manager for the Virginia Department of Transportation's Fredericksburg District. I am responsible for all the learning programs in the district. That includes things like compliance training and things like that our road workers need. But also there is a leadership and professional development component to that as well that I'm responsible for.
Great. Thank you, Christopher. And I have to say, I think of you often. We live out in the country, and when those VDOT workers come out to trim our trees and make sure our roads are clear, I'm always so grateful for all that you guys do, not only training them in those aspects, but in the leadership aspects. So I'm just curious if you could tell us a little bit about what was your experience like in the Coaching Institute, and especially with it being virtual?
Yeah, sure. So I originally signed up for the Institute just because I saw the value in being able to rise above the way that I've always seen myself coach, and which is a very telling style, and really learn to have those conversations where I'm able to guide someone in discovering the best way that they can grow or overcome challenges, and I found, and so I saw this opportunity. I could not have done it if it wasn't online, to be honest. I don't think, just because of the time from my conversations with Joanne and Debbie, just the need to be present and the time that it took in an instructor-led format was a lot more than, frankly, my company would allow me to. And, having this option was very accessible. One thing that I will tell you when it comes to virtual meetings, it is so easy to lose me. And Joanne and Debbie kept me engaged the whole time. I don't know what it is about them, but they just they provoked conversation very well. They just knew the right questions to ask, I think, to get us to really be engaged. And then the activities, just being able to branch out into the break rooms that we did and have those practice coaching sessions. I don't feel like that I lost anything from what would have been an in-person experience. I really enjoyed the online format.
Thank you. I love hearing that, because I know, and by the way, those of you who are watching this, Joanne and Debbie are our master coaches. And so you said they knew how to ask the right questions to pull information out of us. That's because they are master coaches. And by the way, this is what you learn in the Coaching Institute, is for leaders to add to their tool belt the tools and skills that come along with coaching, which are, really open listening without judgment, and asking questions to get people engaged and bought in at a whole different level, and for them to come up with their own solutions. As leaders, as Christopher said, we spend so much time telling, and yet there's so much more power in asking and letting them come up with the answers and the solutions, not to mention we don't even know what's inside of them if we don't ask. So I love it that you had that experience. And I know Joanne and Debbie have jokingly said many times, we pulled out every single tool possible and then some on Zoom, because we use a Zoom platform. So it can be very engaging. So I'm glad to hear, and glad you were able to come just because it was virtual. So I'm curious if you could share with us one or two results that you are seeing from participating in this Coaching Institute, whether it's personally or professionally, because a lot of times we see results in both, and we know right now during this pandemic, our worlds are very blurred together.
Yeah, and I kind of shared my impetus for joining in the first place and signing up, but really it couldn't have come at a better time, because shortly before we started meeting, I was tasked with providing 360 assessment feedbacks sessions to our executive staff at the VDOT Fredericksburg District. And I hadn't had that relationship with the executive staff yet. And to to be honest, it was a little daunting. Oh no, what is this coaching session? We're going to be talking about some pretty meaty things with these 360 results. Can I really adequately have a coaching session addressing these things and talking them through their personal and professional development? And so the gearing up for that was happening congruently with me going through the Coaching Institute. And so I would go through the Coaching Institute, and we'd have a session, and I would just take away things from this session, and then I would apply them when we were having these practices in the 360 coaching feedback sessions. And they're like, wow, where did you get that? They were really amazed at just my ability to use silence. I think that was something that they pointed out, was that I really use silence effectively, which is one of the things that you learn, and to ask questions and to listen. And I got really, personally, when I get feedback, that's what I take. That's what I learned if someone's telling me that they noticed that. And so I got a lot of feedback in regard to the things that I learned through the Institute, and that was really good. From a personal standpoint, I'm trying to think. It's funny because I went through the Institute, almost any conversation I have now where somebody's asking for advice or help, or I immediately go, coachable moment. and I look at that and I try to frame it in the context of a coaching conversation. Whether that's always the case, whether they're really looking for that or not, I don't know. But I have applied some of the concepts in conversations with my wife or with a friend who's bummed about his girlfriend or something like that. It's even applicable in those conversations, though, I've found.
Yeah, I love it. I love it that you show the transference there. And by the way, I didn't know that you were debriefing all of these executives on 360. So you're right. How perfect was that timing? So thank you for sharing that story. And yeah, it's funny. My husband, he is not a coach. He's the CEO of a company. But he also has been through the Coaching Institute several years ago. And there are times with each other where we need someone, we want someone to ask us some good questions so we can think through it differently. And so there may be times I'll say to him, hey, coach me on this, or he'll say to me, hey, coach me through this. And what that just means is ask me some good questions so I can think about this from a different standpoint. Ask me some good questions to help me come up with another possibility or to see a different perspective. So it really does go, both ways, both personally and professionally. We can use these skills. So thank you. So last question, and I know we're running short on time, but I definitely want to get this from you, Christopher. Why should another leader attend this Coaching Institute? So if a leader is considering joining, what would you say to them and why should they attend?
I think one of the biggest takeaways from the Institute was when we went over coaching styles and recognizing your coaching style, and also recognizing what coaching styles other people that you may be coaching have. And I think no matter how many people you manage, if you don't understand your go-to style or the styles of people that you are trying to coach through different issues, then you end up doing what I did prior to this. It was very telling, and I was coming from my style, telling. And so I think that's a really important takeaway. I think that's something that any leader really can get value from. But just overall, it's a really good, solid course that I think any leader can use.
Yeah. Awesome, Christopher. Thank you so much for sharing that feedback. I know one of the things we hear from a whole lot of other people, and you have mentioned this before in other conversations, is just not only how much you take away from the master coaches, Joanne and Debbie, but how much you take away learning from all of the other leaders that are in the program, from all types of different organizations and industries. So it is a wonderful program. If this is something that you're considering, hopefully this helps you to make that decision. And we look forward to you joining us. The next program begins September 9th. At the bottom, there'll be the information that you can log on to find out more details and how to register. So take care, and we hope to see you in September. Christopher, again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.